Hey guys, it's Sarah Barrett and I'm back with a new video. This video is all about giving your photos a really nice film quality to them. So if you like light and bright and airy photography, then this is the video for you. I'm going to show you two ways how you can achieve this look. And if you're interested, then continue watching. So this photo shoot was from today, and my best friend April, who you can check her workout and check out her social media in the description box below. She took these photos for me and I think she did a really awesome job. So if you're not aware, I am a calligrapher and graphic designer. So I contacted her last night asking if she could help me with these photos, and she was totally on board. I created a Pinterest board and I showed her kind of what I really wanted the style to look like. And so she took the photos and I am editing the photos because I want them to be a very specific way. And also I just really love editing photos. The first way that I'm going to show you how to edit for that light and bright and airy look is using presets. So if you're not liking the grain on some of your photos, then you can just go ahead and turn that off. What I'm using is the Adobe Lightroom Classic CC. It's my favorite program to edit photos in. And I used my Canon 5D Mark III with the 50mm lens and the 35mm lens. I'm going to be showing you how to edit two types of photos today. One set is going to be more of the details, such as wedding stationery, invitations, calligraphy, such like that. And then the other is going to be actual portraits, which will be of me. I'm just going to go into the develop section of Lightroom and I'm going to find the preset that I really like. So this is the one that I like. Of course, it's not a one-click edit. I definitely have to do some things in order for it to look exactly how I want it to look. So I'm gonna go up, and the first thing I'm going to do is actually boost the exposure. I really like that bright look. However, you can see that some areas are a little blown out, such as the ribbon, and I wanna make sure that I preserve a lot of that detail. I'm going to decrease the highlights. I'm going to boost the shadows just a tiny bit because I do kind of like that faded film look. I'm going to play around with the whites just a little bit, and I think I'm actually going to decrease it just a tad bit. And then I'm going to bring back some of the rich black. So I'm just going to move that to the left. Okay, I want my clarity to go up just a little bit, and that's going to bring that punch back into your photo. My skin tone kind of is distracting me just a little bit, so what I'm going to do is go down to the luminance and just boost it a little bit so you can kind of see what that looks like. If I go down, I'm way tanner than if I go up. So that's an awesome tip for those who do want to look a little bit on the tan side. They can always turn the luminance down just a little bit. So I'm just brightening it up just a little. I'm going to brighten up the yellow because there's a lot of gold happening. And I'm also going to brighten up the reds just a little bit. And you can see that that really affects more of the shadowing of my hands. So you can see that compared to that. And this just really adds to that kind of bright look that I'm looking for. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Next, I'm going to boost the sharpening. I like to put it in the middle and then just do a staircase method with my sharpening. And then I'm also going to be pressing Option and sliding my masking setting over until I see like right now, all of that sharpened. And I want to kind of reduce some of the detail in the photo just a little bit. So I'm gonna do it to about 60, maybe 70. So you can see that you can still see some of the texture of the paper, see the texture of the calligraphy, and the important details such as that. Next, I'm going to remove chromatic aberration and enable profile corrections. And you can already tell that that makes a huge difference. So if I turn that off, that's what it looks like. And if I turn it back on, that's what it looks like. It just removes that vignetting around the image that I really don't want. And so what I'm going to do is I can tell that the side that's near the top is a little distorted, so I'm just going to use the vertical transform tool and just kind of lean it back a little. And what that's going to do is just make everything a little more proportionate. But I'm not going to do it too much because then it can look a little too crazy. So if I did it like that, you can tell it's really crazy. Another thing you can do is actually press the guided upright tool, and then you can put some guidelines. So like if I wanted to make sure that the middle part was completely straight, I would just do that. Constrain crop. And as you can see, press done. As you can see, it's a lot straighter than the before. So here's the before, here's the after. Another tip is to definitely, when you're shooting, to make sure that everything's straight in front of you, so that way you don't have to really mess around too much with the actual editing portion of it. I couldn't find any fabric that matched what I really wanted the overall look to be, and I didn't want it to be white on white either. I wanted it to have a little bit of interest to it. So because I don't want the edges or my blouse to be in the photo, what I'm going to do is press R, and I'm just going to crop it just a little bit. Cropping does wonders, honestly. Like, you can really do a lot with a nice crop. And there we are. That's the final image. Next, I'm just going to show you how I would do this without a preset. So what I'm going to do first is remove chromatic aberration, enable profile corrections, and see, that just makes a huge difference already. I just really don't like vignettes. So what we're going to do is boost the exposure just a little bit, tone down the highlights, because I like my whites to be crushed. And then we're gonna move up the shadows just a little bit. As you can see, that just makes everything a little bit brighter. Move down the whites because I don't want my whites to be too blinding. Move down the blacks just a tad, and then move up the clarity because I want that punch back in my photo. So there's the before and after there. I'm going to crush the whites just a little bit more, and then crush the blacks here. Go here, and then here just a little bit. So what this does is it gives the whole image an overall brightness to it. So this is the before, and this is the after. I'm going to do what I did last time and just move the luminance sliders to be brighter just a little bit, and then I'm going to move this a little too. And feel free to just kind of play around with all of this and see what works for you. Okay, do the whole sharpening thing once more. Press Option while you're holding that down, and that's actually really cool looking. Interesting. Here's the before, and here's the after. Move this over so it's a little bit more on the blue side, and because I still see a little bit of a green tinge, I'm going to just move this over to the red just a little. Select my next photo and put paste settings from previous. I'm gonna have to tone that down just a little bit, maybe tone this down. So that's what that one looks like before and after. Before and after. Yeah, I like that. So that's the before and after. Okay, we're just going to continue to paste that because these are pretty much all the same kinds of photos. And you know, just like play around with it because you don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work until you're actually there. I just love that we used my t-shirt or my blouse and that. I think it's really funny and it's just really like real. Also, one thing that I just noticed that I forgot to do is actually add a little bit of grain to the image. So I'm just gonna do about 15, nothing too crazy, and then maybe staircase it just a little. Okay, so I know that this isn't completely straight. What I'm gonna do is constrain crop, and I'm just gonna rotate it a little bit. And I don't think I need to work on the vertical aspect of it. I think that's pretty good. So next, I'm just going to press R again. And what I'm gonna do is just bring it in a little bit. Bring down the magenta, because I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm gonna boost it up, but there's purple right in here. And I really don't want that purple, so I'm just gonna tone it down. Next, we're going to be doing some portrait photos. I'm going to do one with the preset over here. Looks good. We're gonna remove chromatic aberration and enable profile corrections. So that's already so much better. And then what I'm gonna do is just increase my exposure. Bring down the highlights. Bring up the shadows just a little bit. Bring down the whites. And then bring down the blacks just a little bit as well. We're gonna do just a little bit of clarity. I don't want it to be too much because portraits and stationery are a little bit different. I don't want everyone to see all of my flaws on my face. And I also don't want to have to bring this into Photoshop and do a lot of editing either. And I think I'm going to bring my tan back just a little bit because I am a tan girl and I'm very proud of it. Okay, I think that does mostly the highlights of my body, so I'm not too worried about what that looks like. I also see that there is some red right here. I think that's one of my plants. So what I'm gonna do is just see what happens if I tone it down a little bit, and I'm gonna sharpen it just like I did before, staircase, but this time I'm going to kind of make sure that only the fine details are highlighted, because I don't want everyone to see like every scar on my face or anything like that. I primarily want like my hair, my eyelashes, those kind of details. I'm just going to go to saturation for the adjustment brush, and I'm going to decrease the size of my brush by pressing the left bracket on my keyboard and actually just kind of going over these red places, because I don't want them to be that saturated. So you can see that I just kind of brought that almost all the way down, and then just, oopsie, too much. I'm going to decrease the size of my brush just a little bit so I can get this crevice without it looking too weird, and then erasing it just a little bit too. I think I need to feather it out a little bit more. Before and after. What I'm gonna do here is kind of do it from scratch, and I'm going to boost the exposure, boost the clarity just a little bit, bring down the highlights, bring up the shadows, bring down the whites just a little bit, bring down the blacks just a little bit as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the enable profile corrections and remove chromatic aberration. And I'm going to put my handy dandy grain on as well. And then I'm going to crush my whites, crush my blacks just a little bit, and then put my markers on. So that way I kind of know what I'm doing. Just a little bit. Before and after. So you can see that in the before you can't really see too much of the detail in my hair, but now you can. I'm not gonna worry too much about any of this. I might tone down the yellow just a little bit, like in the background, and then boost it just a little bit as well, because I don't want it to be too yellow. Boost the exposure just a little bit more. Okay, before and after, before and after. Next, I'm going to do my sharpening and then doing the mask, because I, like, I'm a human being, so I have pores on my skin, and so I'm just going to kind of reduce that just a little bit. Spot healing brush tool, and selecting some spots on my neck that aren't as appealing. I do have a video on how I use Photoshop to even out skin and it still look natural. So if you are curious about that, then you can definitely check that video out. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of do the same thing that I did before. Boost the exposure. I really like this one actually. So like, see what the highlights just did? It just brought back a lot of the background. So now you can actually see the butterfly bushes in my windowsill. Okay, I'm adding the grain. And then what I'm gonna do is actually bring back some of the detail. So this is the before and the after. I hope you liked this video. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this, because I really love showing you different ways to edit your images. So just let me know in the comments below. Let me know if this helped you at all. So don't forget to like this video if you like this video. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, and if you're interested in plants, then definitely subscribe as well. And thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.